Hi everybody, this is the first video that I've done for your class. This is a new concept. You've already done your written notes from the handout that I always give you, and now you're going to write these video notes in your notebook on a new page. So video notes, and what was the learning target today? You're writing this in your notebook. It's on two-sided equations. Two-sided equations. So you have variables on both sides. Okay, write that down. And you can always pause the video. Okay, so your learning target looks something like this. So you need to be able to do problems that look like something like that. And when I say variables on both sides, what I'm talking about is variables of both sides of the equal sign. So that's different than what we've been doing. Okay, so make sure you write this down. Okay, so here's your first problem. So number one. So there's a list of items or list of checks to do when you're doing equations. Okay, so number one, or I'll say A. Do you have parentheses? In other words, do you have the distributive property? And the answer is no, no distributing. Okay, and then B, you want to check like terms. Okay, and let's review what like terms mean. It means on each side of the equal sign. So I have no like terms here because this is an x and a number, and I have no like terms here because I just have 3x. So what's next? It's the new concept, which is we want to combine the x's. So do you have x's on both sides of the equal sign? So this one was each side, meaning one side and another side. Now what we want to do, the difference is, we want to combine these x's together across the equal sign. So that's what we're trying to do. All right, so here we go. So I want to move this negative 2x. So draw the arrow in. Okay, draw the arrow in. So I can combine the x's. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And when I add 2x across the equal sign, I do the undo property. So I have 0 here. So I have 15 is equal to 5x. Now this time, the number we're going to divide by is in front of the x. It always is, but you'll notice that it's on a different side. So we're going to divide by 5 because it's in front of the x. And then your final answer ends up being 3. So x is equal to 3. And I just like to switch the x's around just so it looks nice. Okay, let's go back and review. So what are you doing? You're checking for parentheses. That's a no. You're checking for like terms on each side. That was no. This time you have variables across the equal sign. Okay, so that's the first problem. Okay, problem number 2. Okay, so we're still doing the same thing. And I always tell the students it takes about 3 times before you really feel comfortable with it. Okay, so there's no parentheses. You don't have to distribute. These are two-sided variable equations, so I have to get these two on the same side, these terms. So I'm going to draw my line across the equal sign, And now you can choose to do 2x on one side or 5x. What I do is I just like to move everything in the same direction. So I'm moving it in this direction over here. In class, I'll show you some different ways to do it, but right now for the video, I'm going to stay the same direction. Okay, so that means I want to move this 5x to the other side. But I can't just move it. I have to do the undo property. Okay, so we're going to do the undo across the equal sign. Make that line a little bit better for you. Okay, so this becomes 0. And then we have -9. Okay, you've got to be careful here. Signs same or different. Signs the same or different. These signs, this is 2x minus 5x. These are different. Okay, so what does that mean? You're going to subtract. So 5 minus 2 is 3x. And don't forget that the 5 is bigger, so it's negative. Okay, and your equal sign, keep track of that, is right here. Okay, this time we're dividing by -3. Okay, why is that? Because -3 is the number in front of x. So this problem ends up being x is equal to +3. This is the opposite of a negative, is +3. And I'm just going to flip this around again. Okay, make sure you pause the video and you understand what you're doing. Okay, number 3. 8x, and this is where you should start getting the hang of what we're doing. Like, you should start understanding what we're doing. Okay, so hopefully at this point you see the equal sign and you want to combine like terms. No, I don't need to. Combine like terms. No, I don't need to. But I do have x's on both sides of the equal sign. So what do I need to do? I need to move this negative 8x, because it's positive, so I have to undo, to the other side. So this is -8x. And I'm moving in one direction. So this is 0. So 10 is equal to 35. Oops, gotta make sure signs the same or different. They're different. So you're gonna subtract. So 8 minus 3 is 5. And then it's negative because 8's bigger. Okay, so now I have all the x's on one side. Now this time I have to get the numbers on one side. So I'm going to have to move in this direction going this way. Why? Because I want to get numbers on one side and I want to get variables on one side. Okay, so we are going to subtract 35 from both sides. And then you've got to check signs the same or different. These are different, so you're going to subtract. So 35 minus 10 is 25. with the negative sign. Then across the equal sign, I have 0 and I have negative 5x. What do you do to both sides now? You're going to divide by the number in front of the x variable. Hopefully you're getting a little bit more comfortable with this. So x equals positive 5. Okay, so here's the next one. So number 4. 5x plus 16 is equal to 6 minus 5x. All right, I have variables on both sides of the equal sign, so I'm going to draw that line. And then I'm going to remind you to check, are there x's on both sides of the of the equal sign? I do. So remember, I'm moving in this direction. So I'm going to subtract 5x this time. And it would be really easy to make a mistake here. So really look at what you have. So this becomes 0 because it's 5x minus 5x. So it's 5x, so this is 0. Okay, here you got to check. Signs the same or different. It's the same. This is where you could make the mistake. This is add. So 5 plus 5 is 10x. And they're both negative, so it's minus. Okay, so now I have to get the numbers on one side. So the numbers I'm looking at are without the variable, and I'm moving in the left direction. Remember, I want to get the numbers over here on the left side. So it's minus 6, minus 6. Okay, so 16 minus 6 is 10 equals negative 10x. So I finally get, and just to remind you, it's this number we're dividing by because it's in front of the x. And I finally get x is equal to, okay, this is a positive here, so positive divided by a negative, or you say the opposite of a positive is negative 1. And I'm just going to flip that round so it looks nice. Okay, that is our final video on two-sided equations, and I'm going to move on to the review.